Hello everyone, Bob Scott and Jimmy Vreeland here, and today we're going to talk to you about our deal of the week. We're going to go through one of our favorite properties. This one's on Mohan.
It's go time. I love this house.
Yeah, this is our crown jewel here, and you'll see why in just a second. Look at that house. Gorgeous.
We hit singles all day, but this one's at least a triple.
Yeah. So this is a 3-bed, 2.5 bath house, 2,300 square feet, 2,300 square foot, and it's on an acre of land, folks. Look at that 2-car garage, great curb appeal. Who wouldn't want to live in that house? Really doesn't get better than that when it comes to a cash flow property. So where did we find this deal? Well, this was actually a short sale that another agent referred to me. You know, we're constantly networking with other folks in the real estate market here in St. Louis. We buy a lot of REOs, we buy a lot of short sales, and we have folks who bring properties directly to us because we know we're cash buyers and know we can close quickly. So this was that exact scenario. An agent had negotiated this deal and brought it to us because they knew we were closers. So this property is located in North County, St. Louis. This is the downtown area here for those that don't know St. Louis very well. This is the Central Corridor, Highway 40 and 44, kind of split St. Louis down the middle. This is up in Florissant, a great pocket. This is Hazelwood Central School District, I believe. This is one of our primary areas we invest, kind of north of 270. We also go outside the 270 loop to the south, down into Jefferson County. We've got a few properties sprinkled in around here, but the reason we like North and South counties is you can cash flow them so well. You know, the same house that you see here we bought for $75,000. If that house was here in Kirkwood or Webster, this would be a $600,000-$700,000 house easily.
We'll do a video talking about that phenomenon.
Yeah, so you're going to spend $600,000 for the same house, and there's not that many rentals of that type of house down there, but I'd imagine you could rent that house out for probably $2,500 if it was in Kirkwood or Webster.
No, Kirkwood rents are the same. You don't get much of a premium.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but you're going to spend whatever,
3 times.
Yeah, way more on the property, not getting nearly as much cash flow.
If I was going to buy, if I wanted my starter house, you're going to get the most dollar value per square foot in Florissant.
Exactly. So how do we know this was a good deal for us? Well, we do that by analyzing the comps. And what are comps? Comps are comparable sales. So we had direct access to the multiple listing service. This is the program agents use to place properties up for sale. So we go into here and we see, what kinds of similar properties are selling for in the area. And when we say similar, we typically go plus or minus 20% on the square footage. So you see we've ranged down to around 1,930 square feet on the low end and 2,500 square feet on the high end. And we went back, I want to say, we typically go back 6 months to a year on the sales. So you can see on the low end, this home sold for $139,000. On the high end, $180,000. Conservative estimate of this when we bought it was right around $150,000, and we actually had this one appraised probably 6 months after we placed our lease option tenant buyer, and the appraisal came back at $155,000. So this is how we evaluate properties and make sure we're buying a good deal. You can see if every home in the neighborhood is selling between $140,000 and $180,000, and we're buying it for $75,000, that's what you call a good deal.
And so if you're one of our private investors, what this means to you is if we were to default on our note to you, it is not beyond your reach to go to a wholesaler with that note. This is how we buy these houses. So you can look at the comps, and when we send you a property, we always send the comps, and you can say to yourself, worst case scenario, I can take this note, and any wholesaler, I think a wholesaler would buy that for $90,000.
Oh yeah, we easily could have flipped it for more. If we had chosen to right off the bat. Yeah, for sure that we could have sold that house, immediately liquidate it for $90,000, $100,000 all day long.
And this is how we find cash flowing deals for us, and this is how we protect our investors. We
never pay retail for real estate. If you learn nothing from Jimmy and I, but this, it's never pay retail for real estate. So one of the key metrics real estate investors use to analyze properties is loan to value. That thing we just talked about of what we're buying the property for, total investment between what we purchased the property for, closing costs, and any repairs was $75,000. and the value of the property from the appraisal just a few months after we bought it was $155,000. So it's a loan to value of 48%. When you invest in the stock market, you don't get that type of spread. When you invest, $75,000 into the stock market, you're getting $75,000 worth of stocks in today's value. Where in real estate, we can buy $75,000 of real estate, and we're getting something that's worth $155,000. So the market can fluctuate a lot, and will still be protected. I mean, if the market dropped by a third, the value of this house would still be $100,000, and we'd still have $25,000 of equity. So this is how we protect ourselves. This is why real estate is such a safe play. So what were our lease option terms with the tenant buyer? Well, we got a non-refundable option deposit of $7,800. It's almost $8,000 up front, skin in the game, when the tenant buyer moved in, and we're getting a monthly rent of $1,535 per month. And we never have issues with this tenant. Folks, when someone gives you $8,000 up front, that is a whole hell of a lot of skin in the game, and we don't ever worry about collection issues. We don't ever worry about whether the rent is going to be here on time, and we don't ever worry about whether they're going to tear up the property. These folks have ownership mentality, and they're good quality people. If folks have the ability to save up $8,000, they're doing something right in their financial lives.
And they're plugging away. They're fixing their credit. One day they're going to buy that from us, and their mortgage payment is going to go down from their rent.
Yeah, and the other thing that's great about Lease Option is there's a huge demand for it. We get anywhere between 200 to 400 calls each and every week here in our business of people looking for rent-to-own properties. And especially properties like this, which are nice and larger. I mean, we had multiple applications and multiple backup offers on this property. And we had this deal inked within 30 days of us purchasing it.
And that's another way we protect our investors. We are only buying houses with the demand for 400 calls a week in here. These houses are not going to sit vacant. These deals are not going to sit vacant. We're going to be cash flowing well enough to more than cover the interest we owe the investor.
Speaking of cash flow, let's get right into it. So we have an income of $1,535 per month coming in each and every month. Our expenses between taxes and insurance and our MSD, Metropolitan Sewer District bill, are $285 per month. The other thing that's great about St. Louis is taxes are super cheap, and it's a very landlord-friendly place to do business in. Our tenant is responsible for all the utilities, repairs, and maintenance on the property. Remember, these are lease option tenant buyers, so they are responsible for all the work, all the ongoing work on these property, which really saves us a lot of headaches from a management perspective and saves our cash flow. So we got more cash flow to send to our private lenders and more cash flow to send to ourselves. Our payment to a private lender on this deal is $500 per month, and our private lender gets that check each and every month, whether this property is occupied or it's vacant, whether our tenant is paying us or not. It's just like if there was a bank loan on this deal. And so the leftover cash flow to us is $750 per month. And this is on a per property basis. We also have some overhead. We've got a staff here that helps us continue to grow our business and do some of the day-to-day aspects, so we can continue to deliver great videos like this.
Go back 1 second.
Okay.
I'm just going to pop off for a second that we are cash flow investors. It's great if this thing appreciates $155K. It's great if it sells through. It's always great to have options. I don't really care. It's all about the cash flow every month. We essentially have 125 small businesses that kick cash to us every month.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's not much else that can be said about it. Cash flow is king, and that is our number one thing we look for when we're buying a property. There's two core pillars when we evaluate properties. And cash flow is number one, and number two is buying with equity, like we showed you above. And both those two right there mean that you're getting into a real estate investment that is extremely safe and pretty much the lowest risk proposition out there. This is kind of like a mutual fund with doors and windows. You're buying into an income stream.
With the exception that mutual funds are horrible and mutually shitty for everyone. But
yeah.
Other than that, it's just like this.
Exactly. This is a much, much higher return. You're essentially partnering with Jimmy and I in this property if you're our private lender.
And then, of course, the private lender is going to be like, these guys are making out like bandits. And that is true. And this is one of our triple to home run properties. We had to pay our sales staff to get this tenant in there. We had to pay the marketing to get the tenant buyer interested. All that cash flow doesn't go into our pocket. All that goes to pay for the office and to get things, to make the machine work here. So we're doing okay, but we're not doing so okay that we're making out like bandits.
Yeah. I mean, we've got offer.
Here's what we're gonna do.
We've got office. We've got overhead.
Next video is gonna be a clunker. One of our main mistakes. We're gonna do our main mistake about when we were XL millionaires, and then we're gonna do. Actually, the next one, let's do the one where the garage burnt down. That's my favorite deal, actually.
Yeah, like Monson.
Because it shows how the private investor is protected and we deal with the headaches.
Yeah, we handle absolutely everything on these properties. So when, from day one onwards, the private lender is getting their payment before we ever see a dollar.
And this is a home run. That is beautiful. The glory of Bob is that he can find houses that make money like this. And they can make money that are safe and comfortable but aren't quite as pretty like this. To be a cash flow investor, you have to be able to get lemons and make lemonade and make cash flow on any type of deal. So this is the high end. We'll show you the garage that burnt down. We'll show you the low end. We'll show you our dirty laundry. And if you have any questions, here's our information. We'll have a YouTube channel. Please leave comments. Please leave questions, and we'll be happy to answer them.
Great. Have a good one, guys.